Another daggum notification.
Welcome to a rather chaotic Our Android Week. This is Our Android Week with Alan Furstenberg in New York, Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia, Duke Carrico in Kingsport, Tennessee, Cadeas Kalut in Newport Beach, California, and in Menifee, California, Pam Adger, keeping us all in line. This is Our Android Week. Good to have you with us. So there's that. Okay, so here's the deal. There was some controversy apparently, and Alan just shared this with me prior to showtime, and I haven't not looked at it yet. But apparently, an Android app from an Android news outfit that obviously is sort of pro Android because they call themselves Fandroid with a PH. Has had their app banned by Google, owners of Android. So what's the story here? What do we know what the deal is?
Don't know all the information yet. This is literally breaking story. It's been it was first reported about 4.5 hours ago at this point. So what happened is Rob Jackson, who apparently, and I'll be honest, I don't know Rob Jackson. Made a post that the Android News by Fandroid app, which was on the Google Play Store, has been taken down. They had received an automated email about it being removed. They had received an automated warning, and their attempts to try and resolve the issue and figure out why it was happening in the first place were kind of, greeted with Google's usual non-answer when it comes to just about anything. In some of the comments later, they mentioned they were in violation of Article 6.2 of the Developer Agreement, which relates to branding guidelines. So the speculation is that they didn't like the fact that the word Android is being used in the name of the app when it's not used in the form of for Android. So you typically what they discourage people doing, and I guess they're a little more than discouraging it, is they don't want people to create a game like Android Breakout or Android Space Invaders. They would rather those be named Breakout for Android or Space Invaders for Android. And you can apply this to Office apps as well if you don't happen to like games. But here's the case where they're calling it Android News. You can't do, what do you call it? Android News for Android? It's not clear exactly what's expected in this case, particularly when it is about Android. This is a legitimate use of the name. Somebody also speculated in the comments that there's, under the branding guidelines, you're also supposed to use the term Android with the trademark symbol, and you can't do that in a title. I'm not sure that's the problem here, but I think it all goes to the general issue that Android isn't really expecting people to use Android in the name unless they use the for Android part. So
okay, so I can
what's going on.
I can this looks like an edge case that an algorithm picked up on, and some adult has not yet intervened, I'm guessing.
No, that's the problem, is that an adult did intervene and said no exceptions, no further reviews.
Yeah. Your request has been denied, and we will not entertain any further emails or anything on this matter. And that's it.
What a huge fail. I understand the need to protect your trademark and to prevent confusion. And we went through this because I was trying, with Google Plus Week and with Our Android Week, I was trying to come up with a name that did not imply that we were affiliated with Leo, right? Because we're not. I mean, I'm no issue with them. We know many of them, but I just didn't want to try to have people confused, and we wanted to not appear to be marketing ourselves as part of Google or part of Android. So I went with our Android Week mainly because everything else was copyrighted or already taken as far as URLs. And so I have googleplusweek.com and our androidweek.com. Every other name was taken. I went with the PLUS because you can't have a URL that has a plus sign in it. That's the reason we spell it out. So this is an issue because it's their trademark. And I think I had an issue at one point. I forget what it was, but you couldn't put Google PLUS in the name of some. I forget what it was. I don't know if it was buying an ad or something.
Now I'm looking at their brand guidelines, and I do see that it says Android should have a trademark symbol the first time it appears in a creative. Android should always be capitalized. Android cannot be used in names of applications or accessory products, including phones, tablets, TV speakers, headphones, watches, and other devices. Instead use, quote, for Android. So I can see why it might trip over that. But it then says in the next item, Android may be used as a descriptor as long as it is followed by a proper generic term. Think of Android as a term used in place of the Android platform. So, for example, something that's correct is you can refer to Android features or Android applications. It sounds like you should be able to say Android News.
Well, okay, so but they're actually their name is it's Fandroid, right? PHAN Droid.
The name of the application was Android News by Fandroid.
Ugh, that one's kind of sticky.
I can see both sides. I think it's completely stupid, and they should backtrack and let them have the freaking app, unless it opens a can of worms.
Well, it'll probably open a can of worms only because then they have to make exceptions for everyone else that may.
Well, the
want
worm,
to
yeah, the worm can is open because here we are talking about it, and every other news outlet's going to talk about it because this is the evil
Well, but
Google
here's
flexing their monopolistic muscle. I'm calling my European friend. No, I'm just kidding. But this is interesting. What do you guys? What do you think, Alan? Or you were speaking. I apologize.
No, that's okay. It prompted me that I wanted to suddenly go do a search on the Play Store, and let's see what turns up here.
For Android News.
Yes, for Android News. So let's see. We have this app called Android News, and this other app called Android News. So right on the top list of apps, there are two apps called Android News. We also have Android Central and Android Authority having their own apps and some other stuff. So let's see more.
And frankly, Fandroid might be their copyrighted term, right? Not Google's, but the publisher of
Trademark.
Fandroid. Their trademark term.
Yes. Okay, so let's see. We have this app called Android News. I can't even tell who it's by. Mobile news feed reader for Android News. Okay, and now let me get back. So another one called Android News, no clue what it's about. Ooh, we have this nice app here called simply Android. That's it, just Android.
So it sounds like what happened is that an algorithm picked up on this, and no one's actually sitting and actually reviewing the stores. Just the algorithm picked up on that particular one, probably because of its popularity, and then the algorithm killed it. And now it's going up to the review team with just that one app. And so that one app, they're saying, no, you're in violation. And no one's actually looking at the store with their own eyes. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, but why didn't the app catch all of these other ones?
Because of the popularity level. Maybe Fandroid's a little more popular than...
I would assume that it's more popular than some of these, yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably what happened. And so we just got to bring enough attention, then all those will vanish. Pretty much.
Ooh, here's one called Fashion Android. Android Magazine.
Okay, so
Android.
was this a new app, Alan, or that they just tried to put in, or was this been around a long time and all of a sudden it got the boot?
I've never seen it before, but I also don't follow Android News for the most part, except for this show. So my understanding is it's been around for a while. This is not a new thing.
Okay. All right, so That's
I
interesting.
certainly can't imagine that it would be a new thing, given who they are.
And it's not. This is not some new upstart thing. This is Fandroid is. I'm dealing with an open wound here. Apologize. It's not from the bear, but anyway, it's actually from the pizza. But so the this is stupid. This is like when they said on a totally unrelated thing. They announced that anybody you could do plus post ads to promote your Hangouts on air, and it's now open to anybody who has at least 1,000 followers. They didn't mention that it's $300,000 freaking dollars minimum.
Well, no, there's a difference here, Dan. You talked to a human; they didn't. And in their case, there is no appeal from this. There's nobody that they can talk to say, "Look, do you realize this makes no sense?"
Well, what's in their favor is they have a megaphone, which is Fandroid, right? So people, but Google can be so arrogant on these things and self-defeating that may or may not help. I don't know. I would imagine that somebody will do something, but maybe not. I don't know.
It's possible. They're now appealing to the highest levels already.
What's that? The head intern or
Puneet.
like Larry?
They didn't mention Larry in the post, I don't think. Where did
I mean, I don't know. But I can see
Sundar. Yeah, Sundar is mentioned,
I'm sure. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that they're going to back down, or do you think it's a legitimate thing?
I think that Google is going to back down on this one. At least I hope they do, because this is certainly a case where where the use of the name appears to me to be covered by the guidelines.
I would say, as long as they're for anyone looking for this app, most likely they are aware of Fandroid and are looking specifically for the app, or are simply following a link on their website to the app in Play Store.
Yeah,
right?
I think the other.
So they could rearrange the wording and have their logo and have the word Fandroid in there, and people will know what the hell it is, right?
But also this is a little bit. This isn't as bad now that I think about it. It's not as bad as if this was an Apple product, only because in this scenario they can still post the APK up on their site. They can still link to it from their website, and it can still be installed on multiple devices. So it's not as bad as when you're shut out with Apple. You're shut out. So.
But still, it should be in the freaking Play Store.
No, Cadeas, I mean, although that's true, that's I'm saying you can sideload something is not really legitimate. I'm sorry. Yes, it's legitimate for the pile of users who are willing to do that, but that's also like saying, hey, if you want to install our app, we have this this version of CyanogenMod which will automatically load it for you.
But don't most
that's
iPhone users specifically use the iPhone because they don't want to have to do side loading and stuff?
No.
Because I don't think Craig Shipp, for example, who is the biggest Apple fanboy I've ever seen, I don't picture him doing that.
Well, and that's the thing. Hoops. There's not a side load about it. You touch the link, it puts the APK on your phone, automatically opens and installs. So it's no different from doing it within the Play Store.
Except for the fact that you need to have that feature turned on in your phone.
Okay, well maybe that's the part that I always have on, so I don't realize that.
Right.
Freaking hackers. All right, so anyway, I guess our collective prediction is that they'll work something out. They're going to rearrange their title and get their little app back in the Play Store.
That's my guess.
Maybe it'll be our app of the week next week. As their reward for our friends at Fandroid, whose stories we occasionally link to. Okay, so next up is now casting Google Plus photos and videos. What's this about?
Sure. So one of the features that came with it sort of came out of the blue actually, that's now available on Google Plus, is that you can you can send your photos and videos that you have in Google Plus to Chromecast. Those of you who have not used Chromecast before, where have you been for the past 6 months? Go out and pick up a Chromecast right now and plug it into your TV and watch magic happen. This adds one new feature, which is great, and it's been a long requested feature. It does it in a little bit of a funky way, but that's Google. They can't actually do anything simple. But it's an I mean, it's a great tool, and I've enjoyed using it so far. What do you think, Pam? You taken a look at this? Any thoughts on it?
No, I haven't taken a look at it, and no, I have no. Oh, wait, maybe I have.
Now, just to clarify, this is not casting from your mobile device a photo that's not on Google Plus, right? This is from your auto-uploaded or deliberately uploaded photos and videos that are on Plus. You can cast those, so it's still coming from the cloud. You can just control it from your device.
That's really not clear.
Which is another trait of Google products.
Yeah, because your device needs to be on. One of the notable features about stuff that is normally Chromecast is that once you start the stream from your device, you can turn your device off, you can pull the battery, you can do whatever you want, and the Chromecast will keep working independently. On this, when I tested it, when I pulled the battery, the streaming stopped. So it sounds like this is controlled through the phone, completely.
Well, the photos you're streaming are on your phone, so it's not like they pre-upload them.
Well,
to the
but
Chromecast, right?
But the photos you're streaming are also on Google Plus, the cloud service.
Are you sure? Are they always? Because I have 987 photos on my phone, and I think maybe 400 of them are actually uploaded because I don't have auto backup.
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer, to be honest.
Can you imagine if she had auto backup and someone hacked her password? We can answer this easily.
It wouldn't be the end of the world because I don't take those kind of photos with my face in it. So good luck proving it's me.
There's that mole. Like Michael Jackson had the mole or something apparently. So I'm going to call 1-800-GOOGLE on my Samsung Hyper Mega phallic phone and call Google Tech Support and find out if it's from the cloud or local. Is it snappy, Alan? You said you've been playing with it. Is it pretty quick and responsive?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty quick.
The thing I do like about it is I can put a device the size of a a cigarette, one of those cigarette lighter charger things. It's about that big, right? The Chromecast. I could put a device like that in my purse. I could go to Grandma's house. She doesn't have a computer, and assuming that she at least has a television that
right. So she
USB ported to.
So she needs a modern TV, but
yeah, no, she does. She has a modern TV. We make sure she has a TV. So, I could show her stuff that she wouldn't necessarily be able to get any other way if I'm there. Hey, look at these photos or whatever. Now, my question would be then, can you pre-screen them? Can you only show photos from a specific folder? Or, because otherwise, you have to remove photos. You don't want Grandma to see everything.
When I tested it by doing a slideshow from one folder, and it did the slideshow just from that folder.
Okay, and it didn't just move on to the next folder automatically or whatever. Okay.
I could tell you a brilliant application, just one example. I mean, obviously a sales presentation in a hotel conference room in Beijing would be one example. My sister, at my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, she put together this beautiful video / slideshow type thing with pictures of them in all these different countries that they had visited and lived in over their lives, and played it for them. And she had to bring a DVD player in and plug it in and find a place to set the DVD player and the cables and stuff, when she now could have simply had it on YouTube, made sure the place had Wi-Fi, and if so, then she could have brought the Chromecast in with her purse, plugged it into any television without any wires, and simply launched it, and we could have all seen and watched it and heard it on that television set with less fuss than a DVD player. If you have a TV that is not a smart TV It's a definite must-have item if you have a TV that's not connected to your computer. Mine is, so I don't really need a Chromecast, although I do have one. But it's a great device. We got a comment, Cadeas?
John Jensen wants to know if or maybe Alan, if you've ran into any issues where auto backup turns off even though you turn it on. He says every time he turns it on, it keeps turning off. A week later, he comes back and it's off. For me, I haven't had that problem, but I'm wondering what handset you have. So let us know what handset you have. What do you have anything for that, Alan?
I don't.
I haven't seen that.
My guess might be, though, that if he's dealing with account settings or the sync services or anything along those lines, it might be turning it off in conjunction with him doing other settings so that he might not be aware of it.
Yeah, there is. What is it? Let us know what device you have, because there's a section where it can be pushed to sync, and so if you're turning on the push to sync, then it's turning off all your other stuff, as opposed to letting it do it automatic. So let us know what device you have, John Jensen.
What do you mean push to sync? And also, is my mic better?
Yeah, a lot better. Now that's the one you're using. It depends on what device he has. Every device does it a little different. I have a few here, so I can play with it to figure out what's causing it. I just need to know which one it is.
He's being humble. He actually owns all Android devices. I think he actually has all devices.
John Jensen does?
You do. I think you have all BlackBerry, Windows. I met a second person, by the way. I just hired her as a sales rep in Frederick County, Virginia, and she has a Windows phone, and she likes her Windows phone. So now I've met two people of the 135,000 people I know, and two of them have a Windows phone, and they both like them. So
one final answer to the question. If you're still having problems, a great place to turn is to the Google Plus help community. There are a lot of people there who may or may not have seen this sort of thing. Usually they're pretty good at least checking, making sure you've got the right settings first, and then seeing if they can dig in further to help you if you still have problems. So that's the Google Plus help community. Can search for them on Google Plus, obviously.
Cool. All right, so there's that, and we'll wait John to get back with us with his device. So Chris Wong, who is the community manager for Google Plus, right? Is that correct?
It's me. Keep going, though.
I think
Tell
so.
us about the story.
Yeah, Chris Wong is the guy who posted this, and I've actually been in a hangout with him. He's a super nice guy, and I think he's a community manager. I think he's for Google Plus, but he posted this this thing about the new Hangouts app on Google, and I have my Google Plus Week logo on that shot. I apologize. Let me fix that. Bam. So he's got the new Hangouts app, customized ringtones for each of your Hangouts, block SMS messages from specific smartphones or phone numbers, restore contacts you have previously hidden, layout support for right-to-left languages. So that's cool. Anything else noteworthy here, Alan? And I guess this one, even though it's being rolled out, you can force it on, he says in this post. You can go here and...
Actually, it sounds like it should have rolled to everybody at this point, but if you didn't get it automatically, he was giving instructions on how you can trigger that update. Yeah, it does. These are not massive ooh wow items, but it looks like it's a steady march of improving Hangouts. It's meant to counter the WhatsApp and other applications of this sort, and hopefully, very hopefully, it is a preview, or it might even be putting in place the code that we need for what will hopefully be big rollout later this month.
At I.O.
Yes.
Which hopefully, unlike last year, you will actually be communicating with us from, other than a text message every other day.
I was posting continuously on my stream.
The first year, you were very good. You had Amit and Mike Elgin and all these guys pop in on your laptop. bunch of
The first year I had bandwidth for some reason.
somehow you
We will
sat next to a microwave
I will
truck
be
or
making
something.
every effort to report from the floor.
I think he's basic. I think basically it's
Quick.
like a 3-day drunk
Quick.
fest, and
Quit being butthurt and move on.
butthurt is a term I had not heard before. Thankfully, I've never experienced that either. But now I have a visual I will never be able to completely remove. Okay, so Google Nearby will reportedly let your phone tell you when it's close to other devices. Surprised I haven't heard more pushback from the privacy people about this.
I was actually shocked about that. Actually, I didn't even know that rolled out, and I just looked around. And it was like Charlie has gotten home, and I'm like, okay. And it had his little Google Plus picture. I meant to take a screenshot of it, but I kind of got distracted. But that was kind of shocking that happened.
That's neat. And
Wait.
John updates.
Whoa! Hang on a second. So this doesn't sound like Nearby, Cadeus. What is it that you?
On
You're-
Google Now, let me see. Maybe I did take a screenshot, but on Google Now, it popped up and was like Charlie has arrived home, and I wasn't at home. I was near home, but it popped up and was like Charlie has arrived home. I think I was showing somebody how Google Now works, and I was like, that's strange. I've never seen that before. And then I texted him, and sure enough, he was at home. I was like, okay, that's weird.
That's interesting. I hadn't heard anybody talking about that.
Yeah, I wish I would have took a screenshot of it, but apparently I didn't. I remember thinking I need to screenshot this, and then I got to still talking about it and forgot. So yeah, that was crazy. It's very weird.
And John Jensen updates that he has a Note 2, which I have, and I have not. I'm assuming you. I'm not sure what the deal is because I have a Note 2 through Sprint, so I'm not sure what carrier you have, but I have not experienced that, and I'm seeing auto uploading, and I don't think I've ever turned it on since it initially was announced, and I turned it on. I've turned it on for friends and told them that, this way a Mack truck can hit your phone and smash it to pieces and you'll still have all your photos. So I've never had to adjust that. So that's interesting.
You went through, if John, if you've went through and you have went and turned off a lot of the Samsung stuff because you don't want the junk running in the background, there are a few things that Samsung has integrated that would do that. And I learned this with my camera that I have, my Galaxy camera, that if you go through and you turn off some, and I never found out what was affecting which ones, but if you go through and you turn off too much of their stuff, you're going to hit something that does deal with sharing and syncing. And because my camera wasn't doing backup after each picture for a while, and I just ended up erasing the entire camera. And then slowly I'm turning off one thing a day as I use the camera until I get it as minimal as I can have it pure. So that's probably what happened on the Note 2. So you probably just need to go through and either start turning stuff back on to see if that solves the problem, or totally erase and start fresh.
Okay.
So maybe a chat on. There's a whole bunch of their Samsung apps in there that you probably shut down. So
I have a quick message here from Craig Ship, John. He suggests just get an iPhone. From Craig Ship. That's the Craig Ship moment there. My Craig Ship Auto Troll app. He just, And then Kevin Bryan says he's hoping for a bunch of news for Hangouts at I/O, namely complete integration of Google Voice. I'll tell you, I hope they don't screw that up. Because
I am
I'm
so with you there, and I think, I can only guess. But
Well, Chi's in charge
speculation
now,
is-
right?
What was that, Dan?
Isn't Chi in charge of voice now? I think they're moving. That's one of the teams that are moving to Kirkland, I think, or to Seattle, to the new campus they're building is voice. And I
I'd
think
assume
Chi's
that he was
responsible
in charge
for
of them
voice.
for a while now. I don't think that's news. I think that dates back to last year still.
So if they screw up voice, I'm going to personally talk to Chi on this program. We're going to give him hell, and he'll.
But I think everyone
ignore
is
us.
looking forward to that improved integration, and I think the heat's been turned up just a little with Apple's announcement that that's essentially what they're doing. That they've got what's essentially an integration between your cell phone and their services. That's essentially what voice is.
Okay.
So yeah, they need to finish that integration. They need to finish it soon.
All right. So
And that's actually related to this story that we seemingly just skipped over.
the Nearby.
Yes. Because one of the other features that came out from Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference is the ability for you to walk up to your computer with your phone and for each one to know that the other one is there, and that's nearby. I mean, that's what Google Nearby is all about. It's devices detecting where your other devices are.
What's the
So that you
practical
can do-
application other than like Cadeas knowing where his kid is, etc.?
Well, that's not even nearby. That's location services. The
I
practical
was nearby the house when that happened, though.
You were or were not?
I was nearby the house.
A word. Oh my God. Oh
Now,
dear.
this is really think of this in terms, and actually this might be related to some of the work that Bump was doing as well. And Google purchased Bump several months back, you might remember.
Yeah, I don't remember what Bump
this
is.
the practical application. I mean, the way Bump was using it is they were using it as a way to transfer money between two devices that didn't have NFC, because they could verify that both devices were in close proximity to each other and were moving towards each other. So, that was a money transfer example. When you start talking about the Internet of Things, you start being able to say, okay, this phone is now in this room, so we can, so if you are adjusting the lights, you're adjusting the lights for this room by default, unless you want to be, adjusting the lights for somewhere else. So it adds context to everything that you're doing. Right now, for example, if you want your phone to control your Comcast, you need to tell it which Chromecast, what did I say, Comcast or Chromecast? You need to tell it which Chromecast device you want to be controlling. With this, it might now know, okay, you're closer to the device in your bedroom than in your living room, so we're going to present that as the first option. These are things that it can do. It can know, for example, when your phone is sitting next to your desktop computer, so that it doesn't try to ring both the Hangout app on both devices at once. So there's a lot of practical application for devices to know where they are in proximity to other devices. And honestly, from there, once you turn that loose, if they turn it loose as an API, as a toolkit, as something your developers can do something with, then you're going to see some really cool stuff. So again, blue skying. What useful knowledge can you have if you know that your glass is in the same room as your desktop device? Those sorts of questions. How do you easily pair a Tango tablet with a glass device? So these are questions that this toolkit gives a little bit of an answer to.
Home automation seems like a logical extension of this, right? Big time,
Exactly.
right? It would know what room you're in, and if you switch from the living room to the bedroom, it might adjust the thermostat or that kind of thing.
Did I say that?
Did you already say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there are certainly questions. Is it going to have enough
I was just trying to
of a fine
clarify
grain-
Alan's remarks.
Is it going to have enough of a fine grain to know whether you're in one room or another? But that's the sort of thing that this certainly can lead to.
All right, so it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Is there an NSA version of this that can just sort of, know all? Omniscient? The NSA Omniscient app. Someone should trademark that. NSAomniscient.com. Someone should grab that URL. Okay, so next is Project Tango Tablet Development Kit, which I am wholly unqualified to discuss. So I will defer to the two men here. I don't think Pam's much of a Tango developer. Hell of a dancer, though.
Do you tango, do you tango, Pam? Pam's not going
No.
to.
I tango like Elaine from Seinfeld. Tango.
So yeah, so we're gonna leave this to New York and Newport Beach,
You
California.
want to take this one, Cadeas?
Tango. Okay. So no, I don't tango in real life. Just to get that out the way, I've never tangoed, so I don't do that. Well, the question is, are you gonna, if given the opportunity, are you going to jump on this? That's my first question to you before I.
I'll explain what you mean by jump on. So the big news with this one is that they've now announced that there will be a Tango tablet.
Which is
Which is a
Is it?
tablet that reads that basically is able to read everything around it just about.
What is
Whether it-
Project Tango? Can we start there?
Let's start with Project Tango. So, Project Tango is it's a broad-based experiment that Google is running about what new sensors can you create that work with the world in new and different ways. So we have currently sensors like a GPS that can tell you within 100 or so feet what your location is. We've got tilt sensors. We've got azimuth sensors. So we have some broad sensors that were okay for the time. But what else can they create? So so they're looking at sensors that give you fine-grained location, like to within feet or inches. They're looking at sensors that can detect the environment around you and can create 3D maps of your immediate environment. There's a whole number of different things that they're looking at. So 3D motion and depth sensing. Broadly speaking, it's helping devices understand your world better. So one of the first things they're doing with it is releasing this tablet, which has, as part of it, a number of new devices and sensors. It comes with an NVIDIA Turga K1 processor, 4 gig of RAM, 128 gig of storage. I mean, that's just... has there been an Android tablet with that much storage in it before?
I don't think we even passed the 32 gigabyte threshold, let alone 128 gigabyte.
I thought somewhere we'd seen 64s, but this is just a tremendous amount of storage capacity, which is only hinting at some of the possible uses for it. It contains a motion tracking camera with integrated depth sensing. It's going to have Wi-Fi. It's going to have Bluetooth Low Energy, and it will have 4G LTE, although that might not work with your region and carrier, yada, yada, yada. So that's the tablet. That's the first product coming from these guys. And I use product in quotes in the same way that glass is a product. It's not really intended for the consumer market, clearly. And they come out and say that it's not intended for the consumer market. It's meant as, it's for developers who are interested in figuring out what this mobile 3D sensing is all about and what they can do with it.
Glass, are you saying isn't intended for consumers?
Not the current model, no.
Oh, well, yeah, clearly not the current model. A, the price. B,
B, the price. C, the price. C. No, I mean this is meant for people who are looking to get in on the ground floor of something new and different and poke at it and see what can be done with it.
So the only difference between the development that you would do for glass and the development that you would do for my Note 3 or the development that you would do for this device is the unique functions of each of the devices, correct?
Correct. Well, what do you mean the development you would do? Yeah, I mean that's what's special about this, or its unique sensors.
Right. So you wouldn't buy this just to develop standard Android games or, a camera app for, all the other devices out there. It would be you're developing for the unique features of this particular product only.
Right. I mean, you could develop that way on it, but I mean, you're getting this for all the unique sensors that you don't ordinarily get with the other devices. So this is one of those, hey, this is something that's going to be in the future. Here's your tools to play with that and learn and experiment to figure out where it should go and how it should go.
Right.
There's no rules with this.
Right. So basically, Google's going to let you pay for the privilege of developing.
Again,
An app for a product, that no one will ever buy.
Stuff
Keep in
for
mind,
the
Pam,
product.
keep in mind that's always the case with everything. Is that the people developing for that product has to pay to be a part of that product. It doesn't matter if it's a TV. It doesn't matter if it's a game system.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, most like game companies or most other companies actually hire people, programmers, to program for them, and they pay the programmers a lot of money.
But
They
at the
don't
same time,
they
Pam,
don't say here, give us
BlackBerry
2,000.
Didn't BlackBerry offer like a $10,000 bounty if for anyone who wrote a BlackBerry game? Or
No, but here's the thing, and this is what Cadeus. Go ahead, Cadeus. I'm sorry.
No, Pam, what I'm saying is for example, EA Games, if they decide that they want to build an Xbox game, they have to go to Microsoft and buy a developer edition Xbox in order to be able to program. This is normal. This is totally normal. It's just not normal for the consumer to see that side of it. But
Right.
that's how everything works.
Remember, before, you know, when both Sony launched the most recent PlayStation and when Microsoft launched the most recent Xbox, both of them launched with titles from outside companies. Those companies needed to pay, and they needed to pay a hell of a lot, for the developer kits, which included hardware for those new consoles.
also,
So,
it's
as-
you know,
are they-
a modern game is, you're talking tens of millions of dollars in development money. I mean, so this is small potatoes. And also, if like Electronic or whoever said, you know, we want to do a Final Fantasy, a new one for Android, I'm sure Google would float them the freaking stuff, right? Probably give them a wing of the campus to do it in. You know, or if Steven Spielberg wanted to come out with something or whatever. But
But
yeah,
I
these
mean,
are-
what this does, what they're doing here is they've said that it will be available. It will go on sale later this year for developers. They've announced the price of this device. It's going to be $1,024, which is a nice symbolic number. Presumably, that does not include tax. And it's aimed at developers, and there's a sign-up page for it now.
are you
And the
signing up to
question-
buy the $1,000 Android tablet that has no apps, Alan?
I've already signed up for it. And the reason
his
why,
next
is-
book.
and
He's gonna write a
and the
book. How I
reason
lost
why-
$1 billion buying Google shit. Sorry, go ahead.
after that, I'm not sure I can say anything more. I don't, and honestly, I don't know if I will get this one, for a couple of reasons. But I'm most interested in seeing where the 3D sensors go. That's a big interest of mine, is seeing if I can do more location and presence detection, and seeing if this gives me some tools to do that. So that's exciting to me, but I'm not sure I'm willing to pay $1,000 to get it on the, you know, on the sub basement level of it.
Question: Amazon's announcing something. I think the 18th of June, so 9 days from now, if that date's correct. And they're showing a video of people reacting to it. Appears to be a phone.
Well, it appears to be
sized-
either a phone or a dildo. Nobody's quite sure.
and it's some sort of 3D thing, which leans toward the latter, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
But there's already a patent on that, so
oh my God, the first Android slumber parties product. So tell me, do you have any? Is this coincidence in timing, or could this possibly be related? Or
I think the timing is more related to the fact that I/O is coming up, and that they're at least going to be talking about it at I/O.
the Amazon thing or the Tango thing?
The Tango thing.
When is I/O?
I/O. Well, I don't know if I should tell you, because then you'll actually expect me to show up or something.
No, I'm asking you because I'm wondering what the date is in relation to the 18th.
It is the week after.
Okay, so Amazon is going to do their thing a week before I/O.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if they did their timing to try to preempt some of I/O's thunder. But there was enough of a lag that I think it won't work. If there's anything similar, it'll be announced as Amazon. You know, it'll be announced as Google is doing this. Oh yeah, and Amazon announced it last week.
And if it is a kick-ass product, then probably it'll be mentioned at I/O.
Amazon's product?
I mean, to say
I
like
wouldn't-
theirs is better or something. They've
I
mentioned
wouldn't bet
iPhones. They've mentioned iOS at I/O.
I don't think they'd mention Amazon at all, if they can help it.
They're not in bed together.
They
Larry and Jeff don't send
It
each other
ser-
naughty
it-
texts.
it serves them no good press to be seen as trashing Amazon. The places where they'll trash Amazon are places where they have clear competitive advantage, i.e. in the cloud services, which is also where Amazon is in the lead. So you'll trash the leader there.
And I got to
Um,
tell you, as excited as cool as the integration is, because I bought that TV series, Anthony Bourdain, the Travel Channel series. I forget what it was called, but before he was on CNN. Now, basically the exact same show. He goes to a foreign country, gets drunk, cusses, and eats food. But the integration on the Play app on my Kindle or on my Nexus 7 was fantastic. Even though I bought it on YouTube, it's all one thing. So now I have like Google Play Movies that are that's the same product as buying something on YouTube. So that integration has been fantastic. But I've not seen the Play books take off at all. And I see so many books, including my own sister's, that are available on Amazon, and they're not even on Play. Like it's not really a factor, and it's not worth taking the time to set it up. I wonder if they should work on that, maybe, get some freaking books on their book service.
Why? They'd only screw it up.
Okay. Thus, the love fest ends with Google. All right, so next up is Sprint CEO and chairman disagree about fixed LTE plans, but maybe not. So this was just kind of interesting, gossipy. I've mentioned before the head of SoftBank, which bought Sprint. The little guys are getting eaten up by the bigger guys, right? So he is unabashedly, Sprint sucks and I got to fix it. And that's why he wants to buy T-Mobile. Although apparently, I guess, DirecTV or somebody's interested in buying T-Mobile now or something because Comcast is blah, blah, blah. But so he had talked in this video, which was fascinating, and I think I shared it, about the idea of using the LTE network with new technology to be able to give you basically like 400 megabits per second up and down to your house wirelessly, which would be a serious competitor to conventional cable, and obviously much more efficient if you can do it wirelessly. Big if you can do it. And then Dan Hesse, who's the CEO of Sprint, and is the typical guy you see in this, you remember from the Sprint commercials on TV, he said that we don't have any immediate plans to do that. And then they came out with some clarifying opinion saying that the SoftBank CEO, that they're absolutely in sync, they're on the same page. It's just he was talking more like the long-term vision, or I don't know, some kind of denial or whatever.
What I particularly liked about that
clarification.
What I particularly liked about that statement is how they said we're very busy and very focused on upgrading all of our systems to our 3G network. Wow. When you have to boast about the fact that you're upgrading to the third generation while everyone else has already moved on years ago, you got a problem. You got a big problem.
Yeah, when I read that, I started laughing. I was over here cracking up.
They're hopefully going to get up to 3G?
Yeah, I mean, they're boasting about the fact that they're almost at 3G.
Oh my God.
That's their short-term vision, is 3G network everywhere.
Wow. Yeah, so I am fully aware of their limitations in their network quality. Living in the woods with the Sprint antenna. Barely reachable if I am a contortionist hanging out my kitchen window.
And when he says barely, he means barely.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, this bear on the truck that took my trash to the dump.
Thank you, Cadet. The thing that this article reminded me, though, and made me realize just how much I really hope this deal doesn't close.
The T-Mobile Sprint deal?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because if it doesn't, then Sprint owes T-Mobile a boatload of cash, a decent chunk of spectrum, which is going to improve T-Mobile, and will put Sprint on the skids even further than they are, and hopefully position Sprint so that T-Mobile can buy them instead.
So
I have.
they
I
keep
have
getting
no
all
problem-
these paydays. They got this exactly same situation with AT&T, right? They got a big payday and a bunch of spectrum,
$6 billion.
$6 billion because the feds wouldn't allow the deal, and so AT&T had to pay the opt-out payment or whatever. I don't know what the hell you call it.
Sprint paid the opt-out payment. I thought. The
I thought it was
penalty-
AT&T buying
Maybe it was-
T-Mobile.
Oh, was it? No, I don't. You might be right. I don't remember. Yeah.
Originally, it was AT&T buying T-Mobile, and
That's
then
right. Yeah.
they failed, and then it was $6 billion to T-Mobile. So now
And a bunch of
apparently-
spectrum, right?
Oh, yeah, and apparently T-Mobile's extended the deal.
So they're
It's
just
not
going
like
to
the
keep
same
getting.
deal.
They're going to keep whoring themselves out to anybody. $6 billion.
Well, to be honest, Deutsche.
And
Go-
to be
go
to be
for it.
fair, the list of things I wouldn't do for $6 billion is a short list. I mean, Jesus. On YouTube, even.
Oh, you go, Kadeus.
Forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh,
See, but he's not ADHD at all.
I mean, I think the point though is, Deutsche Telekom has been trying to sell T-Mobile for years, but they're finally doing well. So I don't know. I've got nothing against Sprint. I think they've got legitimate. They addressed a legitimate segment of people who can't get the other carriers because they're not using their technology. But honestly, I don't. You know what it is? I don't want Sprint screwing up my telephone system. I don't want them screwing up my what T-Mobile is doing, and I think Sprint has a good track record of screwing up their purchases.
I think that they're just gonna migrate to GSM. I think if the deal goes through and it's closed, I just see them migrating all their customers to GSM and allotting the CDMA spectrum over to GSM. I don't see.
Isn't it like $200,000 a tower?
What do you mean?
Like to redo a tower, it's like $250,000 every freaking tower. They're doing it here. They're updating to LTE, to their shitty version of LTE, which sucks compared to Verizon and AT&T's. But it's like they said it's $200,000 to $400,000 per physical tower. Because
I know it's expensive, but these companies do it all the time. They throw all those towers up, and they share towers, and not every. Sprint sold off a lot of their towers. I want to say 2010, 2008, somewhere in there, somewhere between 2008 and 2010. They sold off all their towers, and then whoever they sold them to, they lease the usage from them. So all they got to do is just say, "We're done, contract over." So
that's interesting because I know, like in my area, Shentel or Shenandoah Telephone Company is actually the owner of the cellular signal, and so when my Sprint phone is actually using a Shentel tower that is marketed and branded Sprint, and I call
Right,
Sprint for
they-
everything, and most people don't even know that it's not really a Sprint-owned thing. It's a contract deal with Shentel because he or she who owns the frequency spectrum in that area, they might be marketed as AT&T, Verizon, whatever. They make deals, because the government gave them that monopoly in this area on that spectrum. The government picking the winners and losers. Meanwhile, I sit in the forest with no freaking signal. But I have bears, so I can't call anyone and say, like, a bear's eating me because my $400,000 golden tower from Sprint doesn't work. Funny comments from Kevin Bryan and Brad. Yeah, it's my birthday, but not yet. Like 2 more hours. I'll be 46. And Pam has promised me a private hangout. She said it's to celebrate my birthday. I'm not sure what she has planned. We'll find out. So there's that. Okay, so next up is SSL. Unless anyone else wants to beat up on Sprint some more, we can do that if you guys, are so inclined.
Next.
Next is SSL added and removed here. I guess that's Secure Socket Layer, Google Mocks NSA, and Crypto Code Easter egg. Anytime we can beat up on our NSA friends. Although I have mixed views on that issue, which I'm not going to get into because I'll get a bunch of hate mail. But Alan, what is this Easter egg? And for folks who don't know, tell us what an Easter egg is. It has nothing to do with Easter or an egg. If people don't know what, I doubt anybody would watch a show called Our Android Week would not know what an Easter egg is, but just in case.
Okay. Okay. So this story, I mean, why he's focusing on this particular aspect, I don't know, but sure, fine. The deal here is that those of you that might remember the Snowden leaks and a number of the other issues that were going on around the time
Might remember the Snowden.
might remember. One of the slides in it was pointing out that there was kind of a handoff point, so that everything done between your browser and Google's server was encrypted, but everything behind Google was unencrypted. Well, Google's made a number of changes since then. Now everything on the other side of Google is also encrypted, but you still have this linchpin where it transfers from your encryption to their encryption. One of the things that Google has done to address the broad problem is create an end-to-end encryption system that can run in your Chrome browser. And this end-to-end encryption is primarily for email, and it's built on top of well-established, well-known, and well-understood security protocols. So they're building on top of this a way that you can write email, encrypt it before it leaves your machine, and not be able to be unencrypted until it reaches your recipient's computer. This is actually something of a big deal for a number of reasons. But in doing so, in the original picture, there was that linchpin was labeled SSL added and removed here. And what Google has done as part of their end-to-end encryption system is added a parameter called SSL added and removed here. Kind of a rude gesture to the NSA. This is an Easter egg because it's cool, which is about the only definition of an Easter egg these days in technology. It needs to be cool and geeky and sound smarter than it actually is.
Speaking of cool and geeky, and I honest to God, I lost interest in that story, and I'm not really sure what you said after about a minute. I just couldn't go on.
Honest
I
to
just
God,
got
that doesn't surprise me, but that's okay, Dan, because we'll be covering this more on Friday's show.
Oh, that's great news. So I'll have a second opportunity to zone out.
Fall asleep. That's right.
Did anybody catch the CIA set up a Twitter account? And it was this fantastic first tweet. They said, we can neither confirm nor deny. This is our first tweet. Just said @CIA. That was awesome. I mean, it went viral. Went crazy. That's funny. We can neither confirm
We'll
nor
be covering
deny.
that
This
on
is our
Friday
first tweet.
too. And what's our Friday show, Dan?
It is called Google Plus Week. In fact,
And when does it air?
At 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, unless Alan and Cadeas are late. And
How's it always got to be us?
it's actually usually
Because-
my fault, but in a rare occasion, it is your guys.
So
You guys
it's
are late.
8:30 p.m. Eastern. When
5:30
is that
p.m.
on
Pacific.
the West Coast, Dan?
Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So I'm looking here at what's coming up Friday. I see Amazon announces, this is from a Flipboard magazine, which you can check out on Flipboard. Look for Google Plus Week on Flipboard, and you can look at it on your computer or your mobile device. But Amazon announces a PayPal competitor. Fiber customers are going to be able to test out some new up-and-coming features, on and on and on. The story that Alan mentioned here, Amazon's new device, et cetera, et cetera. So we're all with bated breath.
So that's our Friday night show. What
Right.
other show do we do, Dan?
We do Our Android Week, which is on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern,
6 p.m.
Pacific, for you slackers on the West Coast, on YouTube and Google+. So we want to thank you all very much for participating in our program, and we adore you. Thank you, Kevin Bryan and John Jensen, and Brad and the dozens of other commenters tonight. Yes, John, the lower thirds, none of us use them because it kind of makes I mean, you guys know who we are. What the hell, It's just kind of an extra
And if
thing.
you don't, we're not sure we want you to know who we are, to be honest.
We can neither confirm nor deny that we're no longer using lower thirds. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, have a wonderful our Android week. Catch you in a week.